Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Friday afternoon. I'm at the office here. I'm about to wrap it up for the week. I figured I would just share a few thoughts with you about next week's USDA report. USDA is going to be out with their monthly crop production and WASDE report and also their quarterly grain stocks report on Tuesday morning. I want to preface this by saying that I have no bias ahead of the report. I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish, but I figured I would share a couple of thoughts with you that I had. First off, remember that this report includes quarterly grain stocks. This is not just your normal monthly report. Keep in mind that over the last 2 or 3 years, USDA has made some very big adjustments to some of their grain stocks numbers, corn in particular, that really caught people off guard. There were some adjustments to the corn stocks that occurred after the fact in many situations that really caught the trade off guard. So there's always the potential, especially in this environment where we've had USDA kind of miss the mark or make these big revisions in the past, there's always the potential for a surprise. You know, something just out of left field that surprises us and results in a move in the market. Also keep in mind that, you know, we've got an expectation for a friendly report, generally speaking. Traders are expecting lower carryout numbers for corn, lower carryout numbers for soybeans, lower carryout numbers for wheat, pretty much across the board for both the U.S. and for the world. These are known factors going into the report, meaning that, you know, when USDA does, and they probably will, when they cut the Brazilian soybean crop estimate, as an example, if they do that, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody. I don't necessarily know that it's like a fresh bullish indicator, barring a much larger cut than what the trade is expecting. But there are a lot of factors that will look friendly on the report that I think have probably already been priced into the market to some extent. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the influence of managed money here is phenomenal. And for my listeners and viewers, if you watched that or listened to that episode with Ken Morrison about the influence of large speculators in the market, you know what I'm talking about. These large funds, institutional money, managed money, are essentially as heavily long the grain complex as they've ever been going into this report. And CFTC should confirm that a little bit later this afternoon. But in any case, I think that presents a huge downside risk if there were to be some sort of bearish surprise or maybe just the report isn't as friendly as people think. And it presents upside risk too, because this is a very strong trend. We've seen these traders, these large money managers, bid up these grain markets aggressively. So I just think that going into this thing, there's elevated risk in both directions. One, because we've got that big long. Two, because we're in markets that have rallied substantially. And three, I think that there are just some factors out there that are not necessarily entirely related to supply and demand. I just don't think that 100% of what's going on right now is supply and demand. I think the weak dollar has a lot to do with it. I think that general asset inflation has a lot to do with it. I think there are some things going on that are not necessarily just related to supply and demand. So if you're a farmer and you're watching this, I would implore you to take a serious look at your balance sheets, you know, this afternoon or ahead of that report on Tuesday at least, and just look at where you stand and realize that there is a phenomenal amount of risk in these markets going into this report in both directions, and see how a $2 move in the soybean market in either direction looks on your balance sheet. See how a $1.50 move in the corn market in either direction looks on your balance sheet, and try to prepare for all of those scenarios. I think that that's a really important thing to do, especially in this type of environment. Hope everybody has a nice weekend. I'll be back with my normal routine on Monday. I think I'm going to get back to the Grain Marketing 101 deal on either Monday or Tuesday next week. I'm going to have to post something pretty soon. But have a nice weekend. Just wanted to do a quick update here. We'll talk to you a little bit later.